Summer Food Service Program. Hello everyone, welcome to TRIO Upward Bound Summer Food Service Training. In this training, you will learn about civil rights and annual USDA requirement, Minnesota Department of Education Food and Nutrition Programs, Summer Food Service Program parameters, TRIO Upward Bound staff responsibility, a meal practice run-through, and contact information. Civil rights. The goal of civil rights: to eliminate barriers that prevent or deter people from receiving benefits, to provide equal treatment in the delivery programs and services to all participants, to ensure that all applicants and participants understand their rights and responsibilities, to show respect and dignity to all. Protected class. A protected class refers to any person or group of people who have a characteristic for which discrimination is prohibited based on a law, regulation, or an executive order. Protected classes in schools are race, color, national origin, sex, age, and disability. There are specific laws and regulations that provide for the 6 protected classes in food and nutrition service programs like ours. Other federal programs may include the following protected classes like sexual orientation, marital and family status, parental status, protected genetic information. Civil rights. A sponsor's responsibility. All sponsors must have an understanding of their responsibilities to ensure the civil rights of all applicants and participants is protected. The responsibilities include the collection and use of racial and ethnic data, the development of an effective public notification system, a plan for equal access, the requirements for reasonable accommodations of persons with disabilities, requirements for language assistance, and a plan for conflict resolution, which includes the development of a complaint procedure. Responsibility number 1, collection and use of racial and ethnic data. TRIO Upward Bound, the sponsor, annually must compare the racial and ethnic data of its participants to the racial and ethnic makeup of the area from which it draws its participants in accordance with the Food and Nutrition Service Policy. This data is typically collected at the time of student enrollment and becomes part of the Minnesota Automated Reported Student System and other student data systems used at the school. This data is used to determine the state's compliance with federal civil rights laws. There are 5 racial categories, which are American Indian or Alaska Native, Asian, Black or African American, Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander, and white. There are 2 distinct ethnic categories, Hispanic or Latino, or not Hispanic or Latino. This information may look familiar as it appears on the back of the application for educational benefits form for free and reduced priced meals as a voluntary civil rights survey, and is typically eliminated when printed for family distribution. Responsibility number 2, public notification. Our summer orientation acts as our public release because we inform eligible TRIO Upward Bound students of the availability of the Summer Food Service Program. We also include the non-discrimination statement on all informational materials and websites that describe the Summer Food Service Program and refer to the TRIO Upward Bound's nutritional program. And Justice for All. TRIO Upward Bound displays the "And Justice for All" poster in the cafeteria where it is visible to all of our participants. These posters are available via the TRIO Upward Bound sponsor. We specifically mention at summer orientation that we participate in the USDA Child Nutrition Program and include the non-discrimination statement. We also convey the message of equal opportunity in photos and other graphics that show participants in different races and genders attending or utilizing the services with us. In accordance with federal law and U.S. Department of Agriculture policy, this institution is prohibited from discriminating on the basis of race, color, national origin, sex, age, or disability. To file a complaint of discrimination, write USDA Director, Office of Civil Rights, 1400 Independence Avenue, Southwest Washington, D.C., zip code 20250-9410, or call 800-795-3772. USDA is an equal opportunity provider and employer. Responsibility number 3, equal access. We must provide equal access to all eligible participants regardless of race, color, national origin, sex, age, or disability. Responsibility number 4, reasonable accommodations. We must make reasonable accommodations for persons with disabilities. A center is required to provide food substitutions or modifications if a physician statement is on file describing the participant's disability that prevents them from eating the regular offered foods, or the physician has indicated the substitutions or modification they need. In either case, this particular special diet statement from the physician must be kept on file with the sponsor. Note: when food or beverage substitutions for a non-disabled participant are requested, such as a vegetarian or religious-based diet, the school may decide whether or not to honor the special dietary request. It is not considered to be a civil rights issue. Another reasonable accommodation is ensuring that disabled participants have physical access to program and services, such as easily accessible entrances, restrooms, etc. Responsibility number 5, language assistance. Sponsors must take reasonable steps to ensure meaningful access to the information and services they provide, especially for people with limited English proficiency, LEP. Reasonable steps include an evaluation of the following factors: the number or portion of LEP persons to be served or likely to be encountered by TRIO Upward Bound, the frequency with which LEP individuals come in contact with the program, the nature and importance of the program, activity, or service provided by the program to people's lives, the resources that are available, and the cost to provide these services. Providing services to LEP individuals include the distribution of meal benefit forms in different languages. For example, on file we have English, Hmong, Cambodian, Laotian, Russian, Somali, Spanish, Vietnamese, and Arabic. For additional language translations, view the U.S. Department of Agriculture's website, www.fns.usda.gov. TRIO Upward Bound is in practice of hiring bilingual interpreters to assist program applicants or participants with form completion or to provide basic school nutrition program information to LEP program participants. This is the most cost-effective means of delivering services and information to people with limited English proficiency to eliminate shortage of financial resources and encouraging our alumni to give back to the program. Responsibility number 6, complaint procedures. If you wish to file a Civil Rights Program complaint of discrimination, complete the USDA Program Discrimination Complaint Form found online or at any USDA office, or call 866-632-9992 to request the form. You may also write a letter containing all of the information requested in the form. If a participant has a civil rights complaint in regard to their participation in the school nutrition programs, advise them to send the complaint to USDA website or at any USDA office, or call 866-632-9992. Note: the address of where to send a civil rights complaint can be found on the And Justice for All poster. Civil rights complaints may also be sent to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, 1400 Independence Avenue Southwest, Washington, D.C. 20250-9410. If a participant has a civil rights complaint in regards to their participation in the school nutrition programs, advise them to send the complaint to the website or phone number previously mentioned. The complete address can be found on the poster itself. We encourage to discuss the civil rights issue with the person who has filed the complaint in an effort to resolve the problem in-house first. Whether or not the issue is resolved with TRIO Upward Bound, a person alleging discrimination has a right to file a complaint within 180 days of the discrimination action. Summer Food Services Program Overview. The TRIO Upward Bound Summer. As a federally sponsored program, we make the most of our grants made available to low-income students by applying to the SFSP, Summer Food Service Program. Summer Food Service Program Overview at Trio Upward Bound. As a federally sponsored program, we make the most of our grant made available to low-income students by applying for children nutrition programs such as Summer Food Service Program. SFSP is a child nutrition program sponsored by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, to provide healthy meal options for children ages 6 through 8. It offers the sponsoring agency partial reimbursement for the costs associated with distributing meals to students. Trio Upward Bound is the sponsoring agency, and the cafeteria in the dorms is the site for distributing meals. However, it is administered by the Minnesota Department of Education. For more information, please visit SFSP website www.education.mn.us/mde/sfsp/index.html. Trio Upward Bound's responsibility. Trio Upward Bound provides an opportunity for students to receive meals at the cafeteria or lunch field trips. These meals must meet the USDA set guidelines such as verify students take a meal, minimum required meal components as listed on the meal pattern before they start consuming the meal, maintain accurate records of meal count, and all lunch field trips. Maintain student enrollment, racial ethnic data, meal components, and its recipes. The sponsor is responsible to submit timely claims for reimbursement, forward lunch field trip dates prior to the first day of summer program, and should have a copy of all documents from site location. All students enrolled in the UB program receive lunch. All students who stay in the dorm also receive breakfast and dinner. Income-eligible students qualify for subsidized meals and are included in the reimbursement meal total. Non-income eligible students do not qualify for the subsidized meals and are not included in the reimbursement total meal count. They are included in the ineligible total meal count. Even though we are site eligible for the purposes of summer food, the sponsor coordinator has identified beforehand all students whose meals cannot be claimed for reimbursement. Their names are bolded on the meal count Google spreadsheet. This makes us a residential enclosed camp. Our eligibility standards are based on the federal income guidelines which surpass the USDA subsidized meal plan, and therefore we are in compliance. Meal patterns. Students should take a meal according to the meal pattern poster and the USDA recent change. Breakfast should consist of 3 components, and lunch and dinner should consist of 4 components. Breakfast is served from 7:30 to 8:30. The sample breakfast as displayed on the screen is a cup of milk, half cup of 100% fruit or vegetable juice, and 1 grain. The breads and grains must be made from whole grain or enriched flour or meal flour. Cereal must be whole grain, enriched, or fortified. Lunch and dinner is served from 12 to 12:45 and 4:30 to 5:30 respectively. There should be at least 4 components for a reimbursable meal. UB requires all enrolled students to eat meals. When students do not show up or eat, they simply are not counted on the tally sheet for that meal time. Only meals served that meet these guidelines qualify for reimbursement. Meals are recorded in the dorm cafeteria. RYCs must monitor the student's meal plate at the RYC station for check-in to mark off each UB student with complete meal components before consuming the meal, encouraging the students to go back to the cafeteria if the portion doesn't meet the minimum components, and add the student to Google Docs spreadsheet, and re-verify students for a complete meal. How are meals recorded if there is a field trip set during lunchtime? During training week, the instructor will identify which field trips will occur during lunchtime and then forward the number of lunch bags needed. This lunch field trip documentation is forwarded to the UDS and sponsor authority. RYCs pick up the lunch bags from UDS and transfer it to Appleby Hall. Trio Upward Bound has established a meal count sheet via Google Docs spreadsheets with all enrolled students listed. How are student meals tallied and stored? Each meal count Google spreadsheet contains the tallying formula. Therefore, it will update as soon as the data is entered. The tally sheet is the source of data for reimbursement claims. It must be accurate, legible, and clear. If it is not, it cannot be counted and the claim can be refused as pointed out in the audits. Audits occur every 3 years. We cannot claim any meals if a student has consumed it or starts to eat it without RYC staff verification. The tally sheet is stored in the Sfsp site binder and another one at the sponsor site. These are required by program authorities. The data used for claims must be verifiable. Are staff meals counted? RYC staff who have received Sfsp training and are on duty to monitor students can be counted in the tally, but those meals are not reimbursed. Regulations do not permit any staff meals to count for reimbursement. This is a sample meal count Google spreadsheet. Please use the following table as a reference. We will do a meal practice. Please check the 3 individual meal patterns. Can you identify which one is lacking a meal component? This is our main contact information. If you have more questions, feel free to reach out to Max or Elizabeth at the numbers listed on the screen. Thank you. This concludes the Sfsp training video.